Hello. I'm here. I'm still in nursing school. I'm definitely back. I have so much to tell you. I can't believe that it's been this long. There's no excuse. There's kind of an excuse. Let me tell you what happened. So, in my middle of med surge, which was not last semester, but the semester before, I was using a Mac to record my videos, and the Mac died. And then I bought a computer for school, and it had the worst camera of all time, like even worse than this one, and this one's not that great. It was just super fuzzy, like way fuzzier than this. So I was like, I'll just wait, I'll buy a camera, blah, 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 I'll buy a camera, I'll buy a camera. I kept saying it, never did. So the semester got crazy, the semester ended, then summer started. Or no, wait, summer didn't start. Then peds and maternity semester happened. And that was the worst semester I've had in school. I'll explain that later. And then summer happened, and now I'm in med-surg 2 and psych nursing. I'm in the fall semester of my senior year, and I've finally bought a brand new Mac, and I'm recording this video on that. So I'm just probably the worst YouTube vlogger of all time, but I wanted to get back on here because it's therapeutic for me to talk to you guys, A, and B, I just have so much fun making the videos, and I feel like I can help people going through nursing school by answering questions and letting you guys see my journey. So, where to begin? I guess I'll start from the very beginning. My last video that I made was my second week or third week, I think, of med-surg 1. That semester was in the fall, and I was taking med-surg 1. I have the sheet right here. Med-surg 1, psychosocial nursing, patho 1, and I think an elective I was taking. Med-surg was really hard. It was a rude awakening. It definitely was. Because we start in foundations, and foundations is just like not that difficult. Like, it's just basic stuff. And then you go to med-surg, and med-surg was just, you're really getting in depth with all the diseases, with the pathology of them, with all the nursing interventions. So it just got to be really deep. So it was overwhelming. And at the same time, taking patho along with med-surg, although they were following the same syllabus and on the same subjects, it was still difficult because patho can get really deep too. So that semester was tough. I got through it, got through Christmas. I did really well. I ended up making really good grades. I was really proud of myself. And then we had peds and maternity. So, peds and maternity is a whole other ballgame. I went into it a little pessimistic, I'm not going to lie, because I'm not a big kid person. I didn't think that I would really enjoy peds. I know I didn't want to work in peds. Not that I'm not a kid person. I don't want that to sound like I'm cold or something, or I'm like one of those angry old people who hate children. It's not like that. I don't have kids, and I have a few friends with kids, but a lot of my family, like my brother, he doesn't have children. My other siblings don't have children. So for me, it was like trying to understand how to deal with kids when I'm like never around them. I'm never around babies. I'm never around toddlers. I don't know like the way to communicate to children at different ages. So peds, I felt like uncomfortable going into peds. Like I didn't know what I was doing. So I ended up really enjoying, at the end, I enjoyed peds. I think a lot of it had to do with my clinical. I was in a long-term care facility for children who suffer from various things, Down syndrome, different birth defects, and brain injuries, really pretty critical kids. And my patient in particular, he was pretty critical. And I had the same patient every week. And, we did more of the aid work. Like the specific hospital I was at, they don't allow nursing students to administer meds. It's just their hospital policy. So we were allowed to watch the meds be administered, but we weren't allowed to actually administer them. But he did have a trach, and I had to do trach care on a 5-month-old. And it was the first time I did it, it was the scariest thing I've ever done. I'm not kidding. It was the scariest thing. I've jumped out of a plane. I've been bungee jumping, and this was scarier than jumping out of a plane 14,000 feet above the earth. Because having a baby that's that little and that vulnerable and that's been through that much. I mean, he had a whole long list, a laundry list of issues. And having that little baby relying on me to clean his trach and not allow it to pop out. And babies move. Like, it's not like you can tell them lay still. They don't listen. He was 5 months old. So he's just like moving around, moving his arms, moving his head. And I had to try to change his trach collar and clean underneath there without it falling out. And it was the scariest thing I've ever done the first time. But then I did it, and I had to suction him, which was also really scary for me. But then I did it week after week after week, and I got a lot more comfortable, and I felt so deeply in love with this baby. And every time I would see him, I would hold him and love him, because he didn't get a lot of love, unfortunately. So I would see him and hold him and love him, and it was just, honestly, it was a really good experience for me. Am I going to go be a peds nurse? 99.9% probably not. I may do something in the field that I'm looking into related to peds or dealing with peds here and there, but to be a full-time peds nurse, probably not going to happen. But did I dislike it, or was I as uncomfortable with it as I thought I would be? Not at all. It really changed my perspective. Excuse me. Whew, hold on. It's Wine Wednesday, by the way. I need a sip. So, maternity. Maternity, I was nervous about, I have to say. Same reasons. Even though I'm married, my husband and I don't know if we want children. I don't know how to deal with situations like that. I've never seen anyone give birth. So this was a whole new thing for me. My first clinical rotation in maternity, I was on the unit for about 10 minutes, and a baby's heart rate plummeted. My mom and baby, my patient's heart rate plummeted. I mean, like, every doctor, all the nurses rushed in the room. I'm holding the mom's leg. We're cheering her on. We're like, push, come on, you can do it. It was intense. It was so intense. Then we have 3 doctors going in there, spreading her open, grabbing the baby. They put a vacuum on him, vacuum sucked him out. I mean, it was intense. And it was so exciting. Like, my first clinical day, I literally came home and I was like, maybe I might do maternity. This was the most exciting thing I've ever dealt with. Like, it was so cool. It was the coolest thing I'd seen in nursing school. So, come to find out, the unit we were on was actually a high-risk pregnancy, labor and delivery. So, pretty much all of the high-risk ladies in my area go to this hospital. They're transferred from other hospitals because it's like a specialized high-risk labor and delivery department. So I was so lucky to have that as my clinical, because every time I was on, we rotated between labor and delivery, postpartum and antepartum. But every time I was on labor and delivery, I saw multiple C-sections, multiple vaginal births, and it was exciting every single time. And the nurses were really good on that floor. So I learned so much. Will I be a maternity nurse? Probably not. I think I couldn't do it every day. Like, it was really exciting, but just to do that every single day, I don't think I could do it. But there are so many people who love maternity, and I can see why. It's very positive. You're watching babies be born. Like, it's so cool and exciting. And yeah, when you have a bad situation, it's bad. And it gets bad fast, and it's scary. But most of the time, 85% of the time, it's exciting and fun, and you're watching someone come into this earth. Like, it's really cool. So that was my maternity and peds. It was a good semester as far as what I was learning. It was a tough semester. Personally, it was tough. I was working 2 jobs at the time. I was working doing private parties, bartending private parties, and I made great money doing that. And then I also did get that job at the hospital. I went in for a nurse's aide position, and the orientation did not work with my school schedule. So they offered me a position for nursing students that is pretty much you're floating all over the hospital doing one-to-ones. So whoever is watching who doesn't know what one-to-ones are, what that is an aide or I guess a nursing student, depending on what facility you're in. Some patients, confused patients, dementia patients, patients who might have a brain injury or a brain tumor, patients who are suicidal, homicidal, which is a little scary, patients who are, just pulling older people who don't understand what's going on or who may be angry and they're pulling out their lines or pulling out their NG tubes, something like that. They would need one-to-one care. And that's an aide or, like I said, a nursing student that sits with them one-to-one and watches their every move for 8 hours. So I got the job at my hospital doing that. I did that for 6 months. And at the time during maternity and peds, I was doing that twice a week because you had to do a twice a week commitment. So I was doing that twice a week, bartending once to twice a week, and then going to school full time. So I was like, my head was just not there. And like, things really fell by the wayside for me as far as my personal life goes. So I had a kind of emotionally rough maternity and peds semester. But I stuck it out. I made decent grades. I made sure my grades were all right, and I got through it. And in May, I started my summer vacation, and it was the best. Like, I really needed that break. My summer vacation was much needed, and I was on vacation from May until September. And I really just spent a lot of time with my husband, and we took a couple trips. And I worked both of my jobs, and then I applied because I was floating all over the hospital, like I said, as a one-to-one. And to be honest, I really had a hard time with it. I enjoyed certain things, like I enjoyed the flexibility of the schedule because I could pretty much pick my own schedule. As long as I worked 2 days a week, I could go in any days I wanted. And the other thing I really liked was floating all over the hospital. I got to be on the burn unit. I got to be on the neuro floor. I got to be pretty much everywhere except psych. I got to be with peds. I got to go into the ER. I got to go in the pediatric ER. I mean, everywhere. So it was really cool. And the CCU and ICU and cardiac step down. It was really cool to float all over the hospital and see all these different units and, how they work and what their patients are like and things like that. So that was exciting and interesting. However, sitting in a room for 8 hours with you and a patient is really difficult, especially for someone with my personality type. I'm somebody who likes to be busy, who likes to keep moving. I've been a bartender for 10 years. I'm used to being busy at work, constantly on the go. That's the type of person I am. I'm a little high strung. So for me to just sit in one place for 8 hours with a stranger was really hard. I learned so much about patient care. I learned, I got really comfortable touching patients, changing bed linens with a patient in it, like all of your real foundational things. I got super comfortable with that, and I'm really thankful that that experience taught me those things. However, sitting in the room was incredibly boring, and then when I didn't have schoolwork to study anymore, it was even worse. So I started throwing my resume, because you had to be in the same position for 6 months at the job I'm at. So I was just throwing my resume left and right. Every single aide job that I saw, CNA, nurse's aide, nursing assistant, PCT, throwing my resume out there. So finally, one of the ladies in HR who I kind of built a rapport with called me, and she's like, listen, this cardiac step-down unit, they haven't posted their part-time night aide job, but they're definitely going to have it soon. And as soon as they post it, I'm putting your resume in. I was like, yes, thank you. So she did. I went on the interview. I got the job. And I've been working now for about a month and a half on this cardiac unit. And I love it. I'm not stuck in the same room. I'm bouncing around from patient to patient. I'm learning so much from the nurses. And everyone on nights is really nice, really cool. And nights, even though in some units nights are slower, in this unit, I'm telling you, we have this particular unit in my hospital has the heaviest discharge and admission rate. So we're like constantly, discharging and admitting new patients. And because of that, we're busy at all hours. So even at night, although we're not as busy as during the day, at night is like the steady slash busy of a normal unit, and during the day it's just flat out insane. So right now I'm working nights on the weekend, and I quit my bartending job. I've been out of bartending now a couple of months. It feels really weird because I have been a bartender for so long. So this is a weird transition for me. I'm working a job with good salary. I'm part-time, so I do 24 hours a week. I do two 12-hour shifts. And I have great benefits because my hospital offers benefits to part-time employees. So I have really good benefits. And I'm just really excited. Like, this is my senior year. I'm working in a job that I love. I'm learning so much stuff. I'm currently taking med-surg 2 and psych, and things are going really, really good. So I don't want to keep this video going because it's already 16 minutes long and I don't want to keep rambling. I really wanted to just throw another video out there saying that I didn't forget about YouTube, that I'm still here, I'm still in school, I'm still trucking, and I'm in my senior year. So I'm going to make another video soon talking about med-surg 2 and psych and how it's going, and other different subjects. If you guys have any questions, please post them below. I would love to connect with you again and answer any questions you have about anything I've talked about, anything I've experienced. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!